Hey everybody, welcome. So today we're going to be doing something a little different. Instead of a vinyl update, it's going to be more of a theme sort of video where I'm going to be sharing basically hard rock, heavy psychedelic rock, proto-metal sorts of sounds from the late 60s and early 70s. And this is not necessarily for just my subscribers, but whoever happens to come across this video, if they're looking to discover a little more as far as what I've got. I just got a small portion of what there is out there, so and I got a good portion. I got two pretty nice stacks here, so I'll go kind of fast through them, and we're going to start with some of the more classics first, and then as we go farther down the list, they get a little more obscure, they get a little more interesting, and so for people that are into those hard rock, heavy psych sounds, this video is for you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start. So we're going to start off with a few of the classics first. Of course, we got to start off with Jimi Hendrix Experience. Probably one of the heaviest records from its time, you know, being recorded late 66, early 67, and the fact it got released so early in 67 is just mind-blowing. And this one, of course, still holds up to this day as sort of a landmark album, not for just classic rock, but for psychedelic blues rock. And definitely got it right on this. Got the scene and the acid rock sound down for the whole era. You know, just influenced a lot of bands as well as this one. Of course, we gotta show some Cream. Very much more in the probably blues rock vein, but they were kind of dipping into the era with this one. You know, definitely taking some LSD perhaps, or something to get their minds blown a little more. Sunshine of Your Love, I mean, that's where it happens in this one. So again, kind of more in this hard rock direction, but very much of the psychedelic period. And like I said, kind of going down the list of some of the heavy hitters, but Iron Butterfly decided to show my favorite album, Heavy. This is their debut album, and absolutely, if you're into even just, you know, the formation of early heavy metal kind of sounds, this is a great band to check out. And of course, you know, very much organ-dominated psych rock, so just very good. And then another similar band, Vanilla Fudge, also kind of broke out with their version of You Keep Me Hanging On, which is on their other album, the debut, but this is the one I got. I think this is the only studio record I have of theirs, but it's probably my favorite album as well. But again, very heavy organ dominated and very good. And as far as, like, you know, some of the heaviest from the late 60s era, as far as guitar beasts go, this is a beast of an album, Blue Cheer, Incubus Eruptum, surprisingly sold a lot of copies. You know, it might have freaked the parents out when the kids brought this home, when they flipped it over onto second time around, but you know, this is very good. And that one, then I got this one kind of bundled in with it, their second album, Outside Inside. So this one's a little more accessible, so if you want to calm it down a little bit with those heavy sounds on that debut, check this one out. They're both very excellent though. So those are some, you know, fairly well-known sort of stuff, and as we go down the list, it gets, like I said, a little more obscure, but yet very much big highlights of the genre. So this one often gets credited as, you know, at least in the top 10 heavy psych albums of all time, it seems. And no doubt, it's probably not in mine personally, but this is Morgan. This one gets a lot of talk as far as VC members go, and just the heavy psych genre in general. It's on the ABC Probe label, and classic. I mean, if you're looking for that straight up hard fuzz going on, fuzz action, you will love Morgan. It's a nice starter. getting into the genre as well. This one's more directed in the hard rock. I consider them hard rock, but they're more garage, proto-punk. They get a lot of different tags, the Stooges, but very much of the era and definitely heavy for their time. That's what the generalization of this video is about. And their brother band, MC5, kick out the jams. And this might be my favorite of theirs. I like all their albums really, but great albums to start with as far as just high energy bands that really rocked out. This must be a Detroit playlist right here. It's got Frigid Pink, again another band from Detroit. Had a minor hit with their version of House of the Rising Sun. Their debut's great, and their second album's just as great too. And their third one, even though I think it has like maybe one original member left, it's more of a progressive rock, hard rock record that is also very good. And then some early Nugent, Amboy Dukes. They do rock out a lot in this album, so I had to include it. Migration and Prodigal Man, Loaded for Bear, a few of the highlights. So Amboy Dukes, they definitely rock out in spots. Even though this band's probably more known for their garage material, they really went in kind of a more, not as sludgy as Blue Cheer is, but closer to that sound than garage music. Shadows of Night, this is their self-titled. It's a later album, 1969. It's on the Super K label. And this one, they just straight up turned it to 11 and got some nice fuzz action going on this one. Again, from the Midwest, another heavy contender, The Litter. This is probably their heaviest album, Emerge. It's got them on the major label, ABC Probe. And again, just very Midwestern, kick-ass hard rock from The Litter. And then as far as the UK bands go, we've got a couple here that are just kind of targeted more towards this very dark and menacing sort of progressive sound, but also leaning a little more towards the heavy metal sort of sounds. Edgar Broughton Band got their debut album, very heavy for its time. Love in the Rain, and just that cover alone, just all that hair is just very metal for its time. This may be considered one of the heaviest records of the 60s in my opinion. I mean, all the stuff I've heard, nothing has just been so over the top, sludgy, and progressive at the same time from the 60s than High Tide. Sea Shanties. This is one of the earliest I checked out as a teen and just fell in love with this, and just I finally got a copy of this years later, but this is incredible. Early progressive rock, proto-metal, absolutely. And a little bit on the psychedelic edge. And then this is a little more on the hard rock, just heavy garage music. The Other Half, featuring Randy Holden, who would later go on to, of course, Population 2, which is one I'm missing yet. Again, kind of along the same lines, very much a classic of the heavy acid rock scene, The Savage Resurrection. Got a recent original upgrade on that one. Again, just a classic title, Eden's Children. They go a little soft in some spots, but that fuzz guitar is the best from this band. Boston band. I got their second album on the back there. Sure Looks Real. Both their albums are recommended. They're some of my favorites. This one's kind of more of a blues rock. A lot of jamming on this one. This is Magic Potion, or is it Magic Lantern, Haymarket Square. It's a band from Chicago. Got a very San Francisco kind of sound. And this was a private release, and it's It's got a lot of great fuzz guitar action going on. This is one of my favorites to just put on and play. Christopher. I know Randy has this one for sure. I watched an old video where you showed this, Randy, and this is classic. It's kind of like a biker rock sort of album, but it's very heavy, but it has a like H.P. Lovecraft kind of vibe going on as well. It's very neat. Okay, that's the first stack, and then I got another whole other stack right here for you. Continuing on, Josephus. It's their album on Mainstream. This one, along with Dead Man, are just classics of the Texas hard rock, heavy psych stuff going on. Kind of reminiscent of Black Sabbath in some spots. Power of Zeus. It's one of the heavier ones on Rare Earth. This one gets lauded quite a bit in the genre. Sounds like Jack White in some spots. You know, it might have been inspiration for Jack White in the vocals. This is one of my favorites to play as well. Just an old favorite that just rocks and kicks ass. This is UFO 1, their debut album with Mick Bolton, who was just a guitar slayer. I mean, that guy could whip out some heavy riffage on this one. Hard space rock. This is excellent. I had to include this one, Captain Beyond. Featured a lot of members from like Deep Purple, I think, Iron Butterfly. It's kind of like a super group and a classic of the hard rock realm. This one does get soft in some spots, but there's just some incredible fuzz for its time. This came out in '68, and this is 20th Century Zoo. Thunder on a Clear Day. It's got the wrong sleeve on the back, but this is one of my favorites to play. It's got some great organ in some spots, but it's also got a couple blues jams I don't really care for, but this is one to check out if you're into those. I think they were from Arizona area. Very West Coast kind of driven garage psych. Classic right here. Thunder and Roses. King of the Black Sunrise. This is just excellent Hendrix mixed with Cream vibes going on. And the guitar work and the way the songs are written are very much Cream-esque. And this one just wails all throughout. So, check that one out. This is Day Blindness. Kind of a semi-private release. This one has mixed opinions on it. I've kind of grown to like this. It's got a lot of organ, some blues mixed in, but it's not the best songwriting, but the sounds are just nice to hear. Here's another heavy one that gets some chat. Valhalla. This is again on the UA label, United Artists. And just looking at the cover art, it's very much Viking progressive rock going on here. Excellent stuff. As far as like beastie guitar work by a 16-year-old, I showed this one recently, Mariani. I forget how you pronounce the title of this. Perpetuum Mobile. It's a band from Texas and features a young Eric Johnson. If you guys know Cliffs of Dover, Eric Johnson, he's 16 here and just wails. And this came out in 1970. It's pretty incredible for its time, for how skillfully talented he was. This is another beast of an album, St. Anthony's Fire. It's a private release, and this is one you need to check out if you're into proto-metal biker rock. It's got like a biker vibe going on, as well as this one. This is probably my favorite pickup so far of the year. The Visit by Bob Smith, from Bob Smith. It's a 2 LP set of just mystical, kind of dark brooding hard rock. This is well worth checking out. Kind of hard to come by though. Hard rock, Earthen Vessel, as far as like heavy psych Zeon rock, Christian rock goes. This is one to check out. Earthen Vessel, Everlasting Life, and only got 6 tracks on here. It kind of goes by pretty fast, but it's a hell of a listen. Nice hard rock sounds. Again, another major label sort of classic. The Third Power, Believe, and it's the reissue on the Record Store Day reissue. So just looking at the cover art, I mean, these cover arts are so cool. They just really, a lot of these really depict the music well. Damnation, this is the second Damnation of Adam Blessing. Don't have their first one yet. I've seen it, but I've only picked up on this one, and I don't know which one I prefer. They're both recommended as far as these sounds go. Another cover with flames on it. This is a classic. Light My Fire, the Firebirds. This is a exploitation, hard rock, heavy psych. Very influenced by Blue Cheer and Hendrix. Just over the top, wild, insanely good. Here's one with Mr. Noel Redding, Road, and classic. This came out in '72, I think. This one gets a lot of talk. It's one I showed recently, Devil's Kitchen. It's an archival release from years ago, I think 2011 maybe. San Francisco jam band hard rock. This one really impresses me for its time. I think this came out in '69 as well. As far as progressive rock sounds go, Mecky Markman, Running in the Summer Night. Yeah, it's on the Limelight label. Kind of Hendrix inspired, but very progressive sounds. Very nice quality. This one as well, Parish Hall. As far as US blues rock, it's kind of more blues, hard rock. What's the track that opens up? Smoking. I always forget. Oh, my eyes are getting so heavy. My eyes are getting heavy is the cut to check out on here. Netherlands, Psych rock. Hell yes. Group 1850, Paradise Now. Figured I'd show one of their records. Rocks Out in Spots, Purple Sky. This one's kind of Deep Purple inspired. Odyssey, Setting Forth. It's got some nice fuzz moments in it. As far as so we're kind of going more into like the early '70s hard rock sounds. Banshee. This is Thinking. This is their second album, and I got a score on this one back in the day. It's on the Polydor label. And then Bang on Capitol. This one kind of gets compared to like Black Sabbath and some of those early hard rock groups. Kind of Sabbath inspired, but it's also its own thing. So this is one of my favorites from like the early '70s. Fire, Could You Understand Me? This album rips. I mean, I know I say all these do, but this one tops it almost. It's one of my favorites to play. It's got just this sloppy drumming going on, but also some very fierce, buzzy guitar action going on. These guys were from I forget where, some other country. So, Yugoslavia maybe? Again, this is a tax scam release, so this came out, I think it was recorded in '74. Sounds a little bit earlier though. Stonewall. Man, New York City hard rock right here. They actually got a new reissue of this out, and recommended. This one gets a lot of high acclaim. And then we got two more here. Frumious Bandersnatch. Probably my favorite San Francisco group almost. Over Grateful Dead. These guys kind of sound like Grateful Dead, but if the acid was kicked up a little more and punched a little more fuzz guitar out, This one's so awesome. And then finally, some of the more heavier sounds, again, like the Meki Markman. These guys were from Sweden, and this is an archival release. And when you listen to this, like the original single that came out, the first 2 tracks on this, it's the Baby Grandmothers. Wow. I think it was recorded in '67. It's got to be the heaviest stuff from '67, I would think. Somebody Keeps Calling My Name and Being Is More Than Life. Both kind of instrumental tracks, but man, they just frickin' wail with feedback, sludgy riffage going on. So anyways, hope this video kind of helped you out. I know I kind of went through them fairly fast, but there's just, 2 big stacks is a lot to go through, so wanted to make it kind of quick. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. And so hopefully someone out there got a little educated. I don't know. Just kind of doing this video just for the heck of it. Just to throw something out there. Maybe someday I'll do something on the pop psych genre, or sunshine pop. Who knows? So hope you guys enjoyed. And don't know when I'm going to make a new video. Hopefully it'll come out maybe next week. Maybe I'll just show the 2 records that I'm getting in and talk about them and some other stuff. So thanks for the recent subscriptions. I think I'm at almost 900, so I need like another 100 to do the live streams on my phone, which I'm not too concerned about. Whenever I get them, I'm happy with it. I can still do live streams on my laptop if I have to, so no big deal. But thank you anyways for the shout outs from Vinyl Rich, who gave me a shout out. I think it was his last video. And that's about all I got. So take care, guys, and we'll see you soon.